Here we go.
Where are you located?
We are in Georgetown, Texas.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So welcome back, everybody. This is Pam with Purrrfectly Holistic, and I am so very excited to introduce you guys to Jason Donas, and I hope I said your name right, with Venjenz for pets, and they also make amazing products for people, but we're going to talk mainly about pets today. And Jason, thank you for joining me, and I want to dive into you and introduce you, learn more about you, your origin story, and how you came to develop this amazing brand of products that are serving people and pets.
Yeah. We started as a pet company, and we basically wanted to offer people an alternative to allopathic medicine. It was when I left the Army that I was trying to find, do I want to proceed down the path of government? Do I want to work for someone, which really isn't my personality? So I really did some soul searching and decided to, proceed with this company because, it was after I lost 2 dogs and I was really motivated and angry. And I don't like the options given by allopathic medicine because it's not in any way there to cure you. It's a complete failure of treatment.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, I don't mean that when it comes to trauma care. I don't mean that when it comes to surgery. Those things are necessary in some cases, but
yeah,
the broken system of allopathic medicine, I can't understate it enough. Avoid at all cost.
I totally agree with you. And I jumped off that board a long time ago for myself. And then I started exploring it, alternative things for my cats. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this works for cats too. It's like, you have those light bulb moments and you're like, why didn't I think it would work for cats? It works for people,
Yeah, no. And sometimes that's like, I was told this in the past. Our pets are here to guide us to our life purpose. Mine brought me here and yours brought you here.
Yeah.
But I was really pissed off when, I had 2 animals that lived long, a Rottweiler that lived to almost 14,
wow.
A dog that I literally found on the side of the road that was 1 year to 2 years old when we found him, lived with us for 12 and a half to 13 years. So he had a long life, but then I had a dog that passed away young. And that really pissed me off.
Yeah.
And so did the shitty advice that we got from the vet, an allopathic vet. And that was the last time I was there.
Yeah.
Because I questioned them and they had no idea how to respond to someone that was more intelligent or more educated on the topic than they were. Because even though these people are all very intelligent people to get into medical school, what happens once they get in there is that they are purposely misinformed because Big Pharma re-engineered medical schools.
Yes, they did.
They didn't come after the doctors as a finished product and say, hey, you need to do this. They were smart. They went right to the source and re-engineered medical schools. They did away with things like botany and chiropractic and all other kinds of really important treatments that are now considered alternative. And they push through their garbage system of, symptom management that causes more problems than they're worth. Yep. They don't cure a damn thing. And, I don't respect the people who practice it or the people who actually take their animals, because honestly, from people to animals, if you haven't been awakened by this point, especially after what took place in 2020, you're way behind the curve.
Yeah. I agree. It's crazy. John D. Rockefeller offered to fund and funded many of those medical schools and said, but you got to follow our rules or, we're going to close your doors. And so you're
well, we actually have an ebook. People can go to our site and get the ebook for free. Nice. We did an ebook on that, and it went further. He actually replaced the board members, hired ad executives to paint botany as pseudoscience, and chiropractic is, quackery. It's insane. I mean, we have a central nervous system, right? How could chiropractic be quackery? I mean, I just don't respect allopathic medicine. It's the globalist way because it's there to enrich the people, not to cure them. And that is 100% antithetical to what medicine should be. And shame on the people who practice it because they swore to first do no harm. I don't give any quarter to the people who practice it and pretend like it's the right thing because it's convenient for them to collect a paycheck to make people sicker or kill animals. And if people don't like that, that comment's directed to you.
Yeah. No, I totally understand where you're coming from. It's very frustrating. But once you open your eyes, like we had our eyes opened to the whole sham of a system that doesn't serve to heal or cure. It's a perpetual system of clientele, you know, running in and out your door for the life cycle of the pet, for profiteering, big pharma, like you said, and controlling.
Well, think about it. You know, a lot of times veterinarians, specifically since this is an animal podcast, tell you they want to see you biannually. For what? I mean, if you're healthy, why the hell would you go to a doctor?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know, the goal, a good veterinarian, a good physician should say this: I hope I never see you again.
Yeah, I know. It's
and the irresponsibility and malpractice that's so prevalent in that industry, no respect. None.
Yeah. Especially when there's new information coming out all the time about the amazing ways that we can use holistic modalities and plants and herbs and, you know, things like your products that work better than the pharmaceutical components, you know, that that they're pushing, that work against the body. It's like, why would you go to something like that when you can use something like this? And I think for a lot of people, it's a lack of awareness, which is why people like us do what we do, is to like get the message out. It's like, we are here to be a beacon of light and hope to you guys. You don't have to be suffering and dragged down into this cycle of endless, you know, medication that's not serving, that's not curing, and it's not helping. It might be managing a status quo to some degree, but you can't do that forever without something going wrong, because medications have side effects, and
synthetic medications have
synthetics. Yes. So, you know, it's just, people just don't know what their options are. And that's why I love educating pet parents and just showing them, hey, have you heard about this? Have you heard about this? Learn about this new product, this, whatever this herb does, this, you know, brand. Explore, because we have so many more options at our fingertips today than we did 20 years ago.
So 20 years ago is when I started fighting back. Awesome. I remember, you know, I waited for a dog my whole life, and I got the dog, and I said to my wife, you know, if he ever got sick and had cancer, I would never make him suffer with chemo. And we didn't. Luckily, you know, he passed away of old age. I had another dog that lived a long life. I told you that I had found, and the doctor said we could try this or we could try that. And he had a tumor in his mouth. He had mouth cancer.
Oh, wow.
And I know what caused it. We can get into that some other time. But the point is, it was a very aggressive cancer. He was given 3 to 6 months to live. And the doctor said, you know, we could try this, we could try that, but I've never seen anything work. And I said, well, let me ask you something. I'm not going to do it, but how much success have you had treating dogs with chemo in your 22 years of practice? And he looked at me and smirked and said, none.
How many people?
Like, why would you even ask me? Because he knows the type of person I am. So I left, and we went home, and we started treating our dog with transfer factors, the one that's in my motherboard product. And I started using some essential oils. Those are really hard for pets because their olfactory system is so powerful. It's hard to sneak one by them, you know. And they were very, you know, he was a food motivated dog, and he could pick out, you know, where the capsule of essential oils was. That was brutal. So I had to just stick with the transfer factors. High dose transfer factors saved his life, and he lived 2.5 years beyond that 6 months.
Wow.
At 3 months, I took him back to the doctor, and the doctor was saying, yeah, it's spread, now it's in the lungs. At 6 months, we went back, and he's like, wow, he's got smaller, that's pretty interesting. He looks great. His musculature is great. His coat is shiny. Hey, whatever you're doing, keep it up. And I was like, okay. Came back at 9 months.
Yeah.
And the doctor said, hey, I want to show you something. And he showed me the x-rays that he took every 3 months, which now I regret even doing the x-rays, but showed me the x-rays and said, where are those tumors? Here's 3 months. Here's 6 months. Here's 9 months. I said, oh, they're gone. And he goes, yeah, but how? He said, I showed my colleagues. That's what I was back there doing. That's why it took so long. I want to know how. And he said, they told me, and it's an anomaly. I said, of course they do, because they were allopathically trained and they don't open up their mind. They were trained to close their mind, not open it. Yep. So we cured him with transfer factors, and he lived, like I said, almost 3 years. And the doctor said, I don't care if you're waving a fishbone, keep it up. You're doing a great job. And that's when I said, all right, I know this stuff works. We've got to take this and run with it. Yeah. But at the same time, I found how big pharma repressed the studies on transfer factors because we're a threat to them. The FDA and CDC are organizations that are supposed to protect the consumer, and they don't. They protect big pharma because they're owned by big pharma, financed by big pharma. They literally are a private company that owns patents. I don't like them. I don't trust them, and I don't respect them.
I totally understand, and I agree. When you peel back the layers and you start to look behind the curtain, it's a very ugly reality.
It's a rigged. Every institution you've been learned or taught to trust is rigged against you to profit from you. Every single one.
Yep.
And if people find that surprising or shocking,
they haven't looked hard enough.
You're lost. Nothing I can do for you then.
Right, exactly. So tell me, how did you start Venjenz? It used to be a different name when you originally got started, and then you rebranded it, right?
Yeah, because we started selling to people. We make our products. What people don't know about the pet industry is there are no standards. The most popular pet supplement is an absolutely toxic, quote unquote, multivitamin. First of all, multivitamins are garbage. Don't waste your money. People are animals. Total garbage. That's a fact. And actually, there was just a study released that showed they have a higher mortality rate for people who take multivitamin. It's a waste of money. And people say, how is that? Because you don't know what you need. You're taking something. Number one, you don't know if you need it. Number two, what's the source of it? And number three, how bioavailable is it?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Because everybody has been poisoned with GMOs. They all have digestive issues. You're not absorbing nutrients. The soil is shot. Our food is basically empty calories unless you are ensured that it's organic, or you're growing it yourself, or you buy it and clean it. It's just not safe to eat. I mean, it's a sick world we live in. We're poisoned food, air, and water. It's on purpose. It's intentional so that we can go to an allopathic shit doctor and get some type of synthetic pharmaceutical that's going to cause 10 other problems. That's the whole point. So I wanted to make sure that we had and by the way, there's so many supplement companies out there. Half of them don't even know what they're doing. The only difference is that they're putting a different label on and saying buy ours. So I said, look, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to take the fight to them. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it different and better than anybody else. And we did. There isn't any company out there for people or for animals that do it like we do. It's not even close.
Well, tell us more. I'm very curious.
Well, we're a system. We have 3 products, and it's a system that you take to restore yourself. Okay? Because as soon as you were born, they started coming after you, whether it's with vaccines or food or the garbage milk that's in the grocery store. You were misinformed. We have Wi-Fi, or they're cloud seeding. There's a million ways they're coming at microplastics in water.
Yes.
It's crazy. Now they're going after the food sources, mRNA vaccines. They know what they're doing. And if you don't know that they are purposely poisoning you, like I said earlier, I can't help you.
Yeah.
So do your own research. you know, the hand holding time is over. People need to take responsibility and start, you know, taking inventory of their life and their health and make those changes that need to be made to take it back. If you love your animals and you love your kids and you love yourself, these are the things you do. And that's what motivates us. So we do it better. We said we're going to raise the, not only are we going to raise the pet standard, we raise the human standard. We do it differently. Whole food sourced ingredients. Why? Because if you're not going to whole food source it, it's going to be synthetic. Okay. Why would I put out a synthetic supplement? How is that different than a synthetic pharmaceutical? They're synthetics. Okay. There's contraindications with synthetics. When it's whole food sourced, naturally occurring like we have, your body uses what it needs and it eliminates the rest.
Yes.
Okay. So there's no contraindications. There's no overdosing. There's no danger. So we have a detox, a very powerful immune boosting transfer factor product called Motherboard. It has quercetin, mushroom complex. And just a quick note on that, transfer factors are what powers colostrum. For everybody who's on a colostrum kick, our product is what makes colostrum what it is. Our product powers colostrum. And in order to equal 1 teaspoon of our product, you would need 80 teaspoons of colostrum. That's how much more powerful. So there's a lot of companies out there now trying to sell you on colostrum. They don't have a clue what we do. We're a chain of amino acids called polypeptides. That's what transfer factors are. Our product is used for daily and if you do research on this, they'll tell you transfer factor polypeptides are both a preventative and therapeutic. Nice. Name another supplement out there that does that. There's none. And we're 100% confident, and we know that we get the results we do because of the way we make it. We use a micronization technique that's typically only used by big pharma for other purposes. We use it to make it 100% bioavailable. You don't need to digest ours. Our product goes to work right in as soon as you put it in your mouth. It's almost instant, and it absorbs through the mucous membranes in the mouth. So you get a very fast response with our product, and it's very effective because of that. So you get a lot of people saying, wow, you know, this happened in 2 or 3 weeks. You get some people it works in 2 or 3 months. It just depends what you're working with. And then you have people who take it not for maintenance. You have them taking it for allergies, autoimmune, cancer. And you wouldn't give a maintenance dose for that. You would triple or quadruple the dosage. But it's a fantastic product. And we also have an anti-inflammatory. Most people think that in terms of anti-inflammation, they think of joint pain. They think of, you know, quelling, you know, like I said, arthritis, you know, what have you. But what they don't think about is an inflamed digestive tract. And animals and people have it. Crohn's, IBD, you know, you name it. The main product that is in our ripcord, we actually have several people that use it for inflammatory bowel disorders that they use. And we've gotten great reviews with that. So it's a system that essentially restores homeostasis, detox, immune, and anti-inflammation. It puts you back. It's like hitting a reset button. You have to also make some lifestyle changes if you truly want to get back to homeostasis. But we take care of the body burden.
Yeah. Well, it's so important because like it's like 3 sides of a triangle. You can't just focus on one and expect the other two to be okay unless we focus on them. Right. So, but it's cool that you offer the detoxification process because we have to eliminate all the stressors and get them out of the body so that it can rebalance. Because if we're just, you know, continuing to pour more and more toxins in and we're not taking efficient steps to remove all of that, the body cannot heal. You know, it's just, it just creates that imbalance. So I love that you guys have like a 3-prong approach. And then I have a lot of clients and talk to a lot of people that have cats with obviously the IBD kind of issues. And what about pancreas? It's one of those itises, but it's also a digestive issue. So would like the inflammatory, the ripcord, would that also help with things like pancreatitis? And
so With cats, yes. So the answer would be yes. It absolutely can. You also, but like I just said, another thing that people need to do is change whatever caused that problem.
Yeah.
So, you know, one of the most common ways that cats die is CKD, cancer. I have my beliefs on it. I can't sit here and substantiate all the sources that we have and the research that we have, but we all know where it comes from. I mean, the first thing you do when you get a baby, you get a puppy, you get a kitten, you take it to a vet and they start sharpening up the needles. And it's like, wait a second, did you run titers? Because that should be the first question you ask your vet. Why are you trying to inoculate my animal? You didn't ask me if it has autoimmune. You didn't ask me if the parents of the animal had autoimmune. And you didn't ask me if I adopted the animal, which by policy, broken policy, by the way, of rescues and, you know, humane societies, they force vaccinate and sterilize animals, which disrupts their hormones, which shortens their life because their immune system is, the body's it's a machine. It's an engine. And if one thing goes wrong, it's going to impact everything. And so, you know, you don't just take an animal to the vet and say, is it okay? And the vet comes out with a slew of needles and, oh, here's an appointment to get it, you know, sterilized. That's the quickest way to ensure that you're taking 2 to 3 years off your animal's life.
Yeah, I agree.
And frankly, people need to start saying to the doctor, why are you not testing? Why are you not running titers? Why do you want to vaccinate my animal? Why didn't you ask me those questions? Get tough with the doctors because they try bullying people and they're going to come across the wrong person one of these days. You know, unfortunately for the vets I've encountered, I was that person. And you have to say to them, what do you mean? I brought this animal here for a wellness check. You didn't even ask me if that animal has autoimmune and you want to vaccinate it? Why? What's your theory? How much training did you receive in you know, vaccines when you were in medical school? Ask your doctors that because the answer will blow your fucking mind. Yeah,
it does. They're just doing what they're told.
Because if they received 1 hour, they're way ahead of 99%. They don't get trained in vaccines. They get a luncheon and they get, you know, Big Pharma comes in and finances a few luncheons and a few events and says, psst, we'll see you on the other side once you get your degree. And then I could talk some other time about the enforcement techniques and what they do and how they bully doctors into vaccinating kids and puppies and kittens.
It's a sick world. It just, it's from someone who has lost a cat to vaccine, an adverse reaction. I understand. It is like a very sensitive sore spot with me and is one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to the typical veterinary practice of, oh, let's, you know, like Dr. Falconer says, you get the little postcard in the mail. It's time to come in and, you know, give your dog or your cat its checkup and its annual vaccinations. And you're like, what? And you know what? I don't judge people because that was me one day until I woke up and I thought, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? My cats are obviously not happy and they're sick for 2 days and there's no need, you know, and that was like a major wake up call. And it was about the same time that I read an article that Dr. Falconer had written in Alliance for Health. And he was talking about the whole vaccine thing. Like, why are we revaccinating every year? It's not necessary. You know, these pets have duration of immunity, and that's a whole nother topic, but it just opened my eyes to, wait, why am I just following the crowd? Why don't I start thinking for myself and go read some other materials and learn about what I'm doing and what it's causing to happen in my cat's bodies, because I don't like what I'm seeing. And I've had so many cats. I had 3 cats die from kidney disease before I stopped feeding kibble because I just didn't wake up. You know, it's like one of those things that's like, what was I doing all this time? And, you know, you go through that guilt phase. And I have to coach people all the time that are going through that same guilt. I'm like, you know what? You have to forgive yourself because you just didn't know. But now you know.
Just like we choose to come here, the animals choose to come to us. And they're teaching us a lesson. So you shouldn't feel guilty. I mean, of course, I've been there, but
Yeah.
it didn't, you know, it didn't last long because I channeled it positively. And here I am with
Yeah.
what I've done.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here without that suffering and pain. So whenever somebody, you know, cries about losing an animal, I completely get that. And they grieve over it very powerfully. And it's hard. And, you know, they should get time off of work because they dedicate their lives to it. I mean, this isn't 1940 or 50 where you tie a dog up outside, you know, but the point is, the reason I brought up the autoimmunity before is because that's something that every person listening to this interview should take away from it. If I'm still going to ignore good advice and go to an allopathic veterinarian, and by the way, let me put an asterisk next to the vets who claim to be holistic. I have yet to run into a quote unquote holistic vet that's actually holistic. What they are is holistic about what's in your wallet. So that is horseshit. You find a homeopathic vet, find someone who believes in what you do. And if you can't take time, because guess what? If your animals seems to be fine, then chances are it's fine. You know, don't go running to somebody to look for something because they'll find it. But if your animals, for example, if you know the history of your puppy, let's say, or kitten, and that the mother or father of that cat had autoimmunity or autoimmune issues, the label on that vaccine says this is not intended for use on animals with autoimmunity. Same goes for people. No vet's going to tell you that.
Right. I tell people that.
You have to ask that. And that's when you blast them and say, guess what? Do better at your job because you suck. You could have just taken years off of my dog's life because you can't read a label.
Right.
What was the purpose of your education and why are you misusing it? Don't go back. Let them go out of business. Who cares? They're not helping animals. They're not saving animals.
I know it's a,
and they're still trying to sell people on that science diet. I mean, I can't believe the people who fall for that. It's just wake up. It's rigged against you. Put them out of business.
Yeah. There's so many better
Fire
options.
them.
So many better options for sure.
Yeah.
You were talking about, I love that tangent, by the way. Going back to the whole, I think it was the inflammation product, the ripcord.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Inflammation and all that.
Do that. It absolutely will help. But what you really need to do for cats, for everybody, honestly, we have our 3 products because almost every single illness, possibly every single illness, comes down to those 3 things: overtoxicity, which compromises your immune system and leads to rampant systemic inflammation.
Yeah.
Okay. Inside, joints, stomach, everything. So yes, would it help? Yes. But you need to detox every cat. And here's why. And Dr. Falconer wrote about this many times. I think the facts are, I forget the exact stats, but I think CKD, chronic kidney disease, is the leading cause of death in cats. It's the cats over 10 years old. It's something like 50% of cats over 10 get it. 90% of cats over 15 get it. And it's very common. And Will writes about it and says that is directly tied to vaccinations, unnecessary vaccinations. So what could help with that? Venzeo, the zeolite that we use that. Get away from canned food, feed raw. Huge difference. Will talked about that. He was like, between your choice of food and your choice of veterinarian, you are adding or taking away 2 to 3 years of that animal's life.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a lot.
I believe
look at right now, if you go to the liars that run Google who fact check, you could type in lifespan of a dog today versus 1950, and they'll lie and tell you it's longer. It's absolutely shorter. It's shorter by about 30%. And that's a fact. Big tech, you can't trust them.
No.
It's all, again, geared by the biggest money makers in the world, and
Mhm.
two of them are, big pharma, and the other one would be the
Big
military industrial, or
Yeah.
the defense industry. So those are the two. I heard a fact recently also that I don't know how many people ever sat and pondered this, but what do you see when you watch TV? You sit down and you either get fast food commercials or you're going to get big pharma.
Mhm.
Big pharma, nobody ever asked this. They can't sell direct to consumer.
Right. They can't.
So why do they buy up all this ad space?
To influence.
So nobody else can buy it up. So you can't buy it up and fill it with something else and say, hey, you know what? That doesn't work. They buy up that ad spot so that nobody else, no other competing product buys it up. They want you to bring this medicine up to your doctor. Like, hey, I saw this medicine does that. And of course, the doctor, being basically a prescription pad for big pharma, their entire, scientific approach to education was flushed down the toilet the day they took their oath.
Yeah.
And now they're just mindless prescription pads. Oh, you want to lose weight? Try this, and oh, you're depressed? Try that. They don't look for the source.
No, they're not.
Yeah, you want to detox your cat. You want to feed it raw, and you definitely want to, if it has hot spots, allergies, autoimmune cancer, look into the motherboard product. But definitely, I would say ripcord. So all three people, we get that question all the time. I'm not a hard sale. I don't hard sell anybody. If you don't want my product, good luck. Go find someone that you do like. I don't take that personally. I'm very confident in what we put out there, and I am very confident that anybody who gets another product will eventually come over to us once they start seeing the testimonials and the results. We're 100% confident. We already are on our way to being the leader in the industry, and we will be. I have no doubt about that. So it's because of this success, and because it's a very common sense approach. Mushroom products are fantastic. CBD products have uses. None of them can do what my products do. Not one.
Interesting. Can you give us an example?
I can give a lot of examples. I gave the best example was my dog Banner, whose life I saved. But I would say to people, go to venjenz.com, venjenz.com, and look at the testimonials. There are hundreds of testimonials and reviews on the products. Read those. They speak for themselves. You don't have to hear it from me. And I'm never going to hard sell you on that. I'm going to hard sell you on getting rid of your lousy allopathic vet and doctor. I'm going to hard sell you on raw feeding and healthy lifestyles. And I'm going to hard sell you on detox, because there isn't a living creature on planet Earth that doesn't need to detox.
I'm so glad you said that, because I see so many probably well-meaning but very ignorant people online that think there's no such thing as detoxification. It's not necessary, and it's just a bunch of sham. And it makes me sad, because
those people, by the way, those people are probably the ones that wore a paper mask for the deadliest pandemic
100%
in human history, right?
100%. But it saddens me that they don't know what they don't know, or they're bots for big pharma. It's always
they could be.
They're paid shills. But it's shocking to me, because yes, we have detoxification organs in the body, but because of the toxic world that we live in, the air that we breathe, the chemicals that we're around all the time, the EMFs, I mean, everything. That's why our bodies get overloaded with toxins, and our organs don't function as well, because they're so clogged up and they just can't. So there is a systematic and scientific reason for detoxing the body and just helping improve those organ functions, especially your liver, your kidneys, that have to filter all that stuff. There's such a place for it. And I've been doing cleanses personally for probably 15, 16 years. And it was an eye-opening experience to go through the first cleanse years ago, when I was first learning about all of this, and like, wow, just wow. You
Yeah.
just don't know how much crap your body holds on to until you start to give it the
It's not
tools
a
to let
quick
it go.
process either.
No.
It's not a quick, like people will say, okay, how long do I have to be on? You don't
Yeah.
have to be on it at all. You
Right.
know?
Right. It's choice. I tell people all the time, pack your patience. It takes a while to heal, but you just you have to go slow with detoxification. Otherwise it's miserable.
So there's two parts to a detox. It's
Hmm.
actually taking part in the detox, but it's removing this contamination source.
Yes.
You can't do that. You can't. I mean, you just said it. I can't stress enough. We are under attack.
Hmm.
It's intentional.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
They can't profit from healthy people or
Right.
healthy animals.
Right.
So if let's just say it's a cat. I mean, I always use dog examples just because I have a dog. I had a cat growing up. So for your audience, you let your cat out to roam around.
Hmm.
And let's say it goes in the neighbor's yard and that neighbor has a garden and that person is over there using all kinds of toxic shit in their garden. You know, they're spraying some type of glyphosate on the ground,
Hmm.
weed killer, herbicide.
Hmm.
Um, the American dream, people want to retire and go move by a golf course. One of the
Hmm.
most toxic places you can live are golf courses near airports and farms. Uh,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
because of all the
Right.
herbicides and pesticides. And guess what? We can come home and we could take a shower. We could take our shoes off. We could, cleanse our sinuses, like do a sinus cleanse. We could take Venzio. What can your pet do? Your pet could come home and lick its paws that it just walked on the
Hmm.
glyphosate and
Hmm.
the herbicides and pesticides. And now it's in its stomach, in addition to seeping through its paws. It's
Yep.
lower to the ground. It has a faster uptake. People don't think about that. So
Right.
when they say you can't detox an animal, you shouldn't detox yourself. I mean, honestly, just, hit X, close that person out. I can't take that person seriously,
Right. Right.
Um, and there's always going to be that person. That's
Hmm.
what you saw during COVID. You could show people, hey,
Hmm.
this is a load of shit. And
Yeah.
you shouldn't listen to anything that this person says or that news network or all the news networks because they're liars. And there's still people going, man, that person's crazy. How could you say that? They're still walking around in 2024 in the
Like,
middle of summer with a mask on. I love that person because that provides endless entertainment to me. So keep it up to all the people doing that. You are my source of entertainment.
That's funny. I know. I feel sorry for them on some level. It's like,
Yeah,
God,
not me.
you just need to wake up.
No,
I just,
the time for feeling sorry. See, everybody says it. Let's be gentle. The time for being gentle was like during COVID when you tried to approach people in a very nice way. It's, hey guys,
Mhm.
look, does this
Wake
make
up.
sense to you?
Yeah.
4 years later, no. You don't want to take what I'm, offering. That's fine. That's karma. I'm not interested in pushing my beliefs on you. We can have
Right.
a conversation if you want, but if you're going to try to, tell me that I'm the crazy one, just take it elsewhere. I don't have time for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So as we wrap up, is there anything else that you want our customers and viewers to know about their products? Like, obviously, Purrrfectly Holistic carries the ones for pets now, which is amazing. Um, is there anything that they need to know about? Like, do they need to start slow when they start your products, or is it something they can just do the regular dose? Is it something they need to build up
The
to?
only thing that we offer to start slowly on is a detox. You never
Yeah,
want to jump.
right.
So you take, a month to 6 weeks, 2 months to build up to the full maintenance dose of
Hmm.
detox. Everything
Hmm.
else you can take, from
Okay,
the day you get it,
that's awesome.
And like I said, if you have a specific issue, regarding the immune product motherboard or the anti-inflammatory product ripcord, you could
Mhm.
take 2 to 3 times that dosage if you feel you need it. There are people
Right.
who take 4 or 5 times. That's what I was giving my dog when I
Yeah.
helped him overcome cancer, a
Wow.
very aggressive cancer too.
Yeah.
Um, so there's that, but there's no other takeaway. The only other takeaway I would say is the name of our company is not just a company name; it's a promise.
Oh, nice.
It's a promise I made to my dog that died young.
Yeah. Yeah. Where did you come up with Venjenz?
It's the phonetic spelling of vengeance.
You're right. I love that. That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, Jason, thank you so much for just being here and being a light for these amazing pet parents who want better. And that's why they're watching, shows like this, and they're listening to ways to make their pet's life healthier and happier and longer. So I truly appreciate all that you're doing as that voice, trying to be a leader to do exactly what we're doing here. Is we're trying to show people a different way, and you don't have to be a victim of allopathic medicine. You can really take control of your own health and your pet's health and find some amazing products to help boost their lives and longevity. So I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you having us on here. The most important things that you can do for your pets are free.
Yeah.
We offer the alternative.
That's true. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll be back again very soon for another show. Bye, you guys.